Hey friends, I know many of us are following Aftermath of Helene, but even before then, we were already trying to think of ways to continue to fill our larder, especially with the drought this year. We had some crop failures, so our onions didn't do well, our garlic died, our beets died. We just did not have a lot of success with some crops. So we went to Azure Standard and we made a bulk order of some things. Most notably would be carrots. We bought a ton of carrots, and so today we are processing those and getting those into our larder to kind of just buffer our winter storage. So we have raised carrots in the past, but given our soil, where it's just at, where we've put them before, they haven't done well for us. And so that's another reason why we just decided, instead of struggling to raise some, because they are more intensive to grow, we decided we would just buy in bulk from Azure. And this will be great. We plan to use this for soups, for an easy, quick side dish when we are having a busy night or I didn't have time to prepare something else. It definitely saves money to buy something like this in bulk, spend the time just canning it, and then it's one day of work for a whole year of eating. I know preparedness is something that's on everybody's minds as we've watched the devastation in the South and the Carolinas and also in Florida now. I just want to encourage you that taking small steps doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be difficult. Something as simple as buying in bulk and putting away is not that hard. And honestly, this is going to actually save us money from buying carrots in the off season. I am not quite sure what I would have done today if Matthias hadn't been home to help me out. We've gotten 26 pints of carrots done, 7 quarts, which is what I am working on getting in the canner right now, and 4 quarts of fermented carrots. We've never fermented carrots before. This is something new to us. We're trying, but we're very excited. We still have a lot of carrots left to do, but it is 4:30 and I have somewhere to go tonight. So we're gonna hit pause on this, but I feel really good about what we've gotten done. Because I had his help today, I also made some bread. I make a sourdough sandwich bread for the kids, and well, for us too, about once a week or twice a week. And then I made soup in the Instant Pot, and I made dessert for them to enjoy while I am gone. So it's been a very productive but long day here, and there's not a feeling that compares to seeing all your jars finished on the counter. It's one of the best feelings in the world. And I will say there's a lot to be said about buying something in bulk like this and then just knocking it out within a day or two, compared to just slowly preserving the harvest as it comes in. I see the value in both ways, and in some sense, like a more difficult, a slightly more involved process like carrots, this has been really helpful to just hit it hard in one day. And I will probably work on another batch or two tomorrow in between baking and stuff. So I pressure can my carrots. I think that's what you have to do to make them safe, unless you're pickling them or something, or fermenting. But I process them according to the book I have. And this is really my first time canning carrots. It's something we wanted to do in the last few years when we've raised carrots. And this is the first time, like, we would get some carrots, but there were never enough to really do a lot with, other than eat fresh or stick in a soup or something. So I'm really excited to have this just ready to go in my larder to add to whatever I need.
So this is the compost pile that I built in an earlier video, and I'm turning it for the first time. And I'm also adding some water in as I go because it had started to dry out a little bit. So we had also decided to raise more pigs over the winter, which we don't normally do, but our family's growing and we decided that we were just going to raise some more. And so I decided to build a different shelter for them. The one that I had was fine for the summer, but it didn't really have any winter protection. I decided just to make a simple A-frame, and I can close up one end if I need to. But over the winter months, as long as there's lots of hay or straw in there, they'll be fine. They can keep warm. And these materials, the wood was from a deck that we had tore down behind our house and rebuilt, and so I didn't have any cost in this shelter at all. I considered making it a little bit better and more complicated, but decided that for the time being, I would just throw together what I had. It didn't cost me anything but my time, so it was worth it.
So I am doing my tomatoes today. I'm just taking the tops off here. You can freeze them with the tops off, but for me in the moment, it was easier to just toss them into this grocery bag and put them in the freezer. So I've got my tomatoes in here. Normally I would run them under warm water and go ahead and peel them. Or even, sometimes I would even let them thaw first. But due to the amount of tomatoes I had, I didn't have time, I didn't have a place to set them all out to thaw. And because we're still in a drought, I didn't really want to just run the water to peel these. So it doesn't really matter how you do this. So I just added some hot water to this to go ahead and get it started. I'm gonna put the lid on. I will keep out these other tomatoes. I still have this about 3/4 full to add to this one as it cooks down. So I raise tomatoes for two reasons. I raise them for salsa and I raise them for sauce. So this is going to be our sauce. All our salsa is done for the year. It has been done. Salsa is one of the most work-intensive things to put away in your larder. I love taking my tomatoes, like when I'm done making salsa, and I freeze them, and then I pick a day in the fall to go ahead and process them. So we've got a really cool week here. So I don't mind heating up the house a little bit working on these. So I just went to check on them, and this is how much they dropped. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in there. So this has been cooking down for a while. I had it boiling there for a while. It's still warm, pretty warm, but it's cooled off a bit. I'm gonna run this through the food mill and let it continue to cook while I make supper.
So I just wanted to show you what this compost pile looks like. So I started turning it, and on the inside there's this kind of looks like a white fungal growth, which is typical and a good sign that your pile's breaking down. It doesn't really have an unpleasant smell. It's just a pretty mild smell.
Okay, so first off, if you can hear my son crying, I promise he's okay. He's just happy. He's not happy that I left him upstairs and came downstairs alone. So we've been in here before. This is what we call our larder. This was a storage closet when we bought this place. It stored all kinds of things in here. We cleaned it out and we made it our larder. So Matthias built these shelves for me. He's wanting to add another one because we've run out of room here. But I wanted to give you guys a quick pantry tour and tell you what's been driving us in preserving food, growing our own food, and all those things. So about 5 years ago, we had a terrible ice storm here in Ohio, and we were without power for 5 days. And I know that's not a lot in comparison to what some people are going through right now, but at the time, it was a lot for us. Thankfully, we were prepared. We had gotten gas for our generator, made sure our generator was working, all of the things. We were okay for those 5 days, but it was bitter cold outside. And so we were using our generator very sparingly, and we didn't have the stockpile that we have today. So we did it. I mean, we still cooked. We were fine. We had I think 3 children at the time. I believe I was pregnant with our 4th. It was all fine, but it got us thinking of what could we do better next time? How could we be more prepared if this were to happen again? Or if we were to have a summer storm that knocked out our power for an extended period of time. So that's really what's driven us to expand our preserving and have a well-stocked larder, especially going into the winter months. So as I've mentioned in here before, we've got our apple stuff. We've got apple butter, apple pie filling, apple sauce. We've got salsa and green beans. Here's some broth, strawberry jam, more salsa, last year's green beans, more chicken broth. And then we've got some pears and pear butter. Peaches are down here below. We've got green beans, some old pickles because we didn't like how they turned out. Green beans. And then, of course, at the very bottom here, we store our sweet potatoes down here beneath. So about this time of year when autumn hits is the time we're going to be butchering. And so what this means is we're going to be slaughtering our hogs. We're going to be getting a beef. And that means we need to empty out our freezers. So as you guys saw, I recently cleared the tomatoes out of our freezer in preparation. Up next, I'm going to be clearing out some of our chicken carcasses for chicken pot pie filling because I've got carrots. I still have carrots. I have celery from the garden, and I still have potatoes. So I'm going to be pulling those out to get some pot pie filling jarred, and that's a meal in a jar. And the beauty of those is all you have to do is heat them up. So I'm going to get some of that made. And then with some of the beef and the pork, I'm also already in the planning stages of what I'm going to do with those as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. It would mean so much to us if you would hit the subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment. We can't wait to hear from you. See you next week.